Hello students, welcome back to Daily Current Affairs. Today is 10th of June and for today we shall be discussing three important articles from various sources. So these are the three important articles for today. So first article is about Zojila Tunnel. So here we shall be discussing some of the important features as well as the location on map. Second article is related to Philippines because recently earthquake of magnitude of more than 7 took place in Philippines. So because of that, the topic of earthquake, the location of Philippines is very important for UPSC. And finally, another important article from PIB, that is about Tezpur Lychee. So we shall be discussing about these three important articles in detail for today. Yes, so first article is about the Zojila Tunnel, and the news is that Zojila Tunnel has achieved a major milestone with more than 13 kilometers of excavation completed. So see, Zojila Tunnel, tunnel is basically a kind of tube on the road. So why all these kind of tunnels are built? Because if the connectivity between two places is not possible easily through the passes or any other passage, then we build tunnels, so that the passage cannot be blocked because of the snowfall or any other thing. That's why we are building tunnels. So actually Zojila Tunnel is, total length of Zojila Tunnel is of around 14.2 kilometers. So here it has achieved a major milestone, and what is that milestone? Excavation for around 13 kilometers is already done. Excavation means digging the tunnel or removing the material from all the soil particles or the rock particles, so that you can easily create a tunnel. So excavation means you are taking out the particles so that you can dig a kind of hole. So that is a major milestone, and excavation for around 13 kilometers has already been done. Now when this tunnel will be completed, so it will be India's longest road tunnel. So please remember, because of that it can be asked in exam, when this tunnel will be completed, when this complete construction will be completed, so it will be India's longest road tunnel. Second thing is, it will be Asia's longest bidirectional road tunnel. Bidirectional road tunnel means, see, for example, this is a tunnel and this tunnel is connecting from point A to B. So if we are talking about bidirectional tunnel, that means inside that tunnel only, at the same point, traffic can move in the opposite directions. So you have a lot of space, so that at the same point of time, simultaneously traffic can move in the opposite direction. This is the meaning of bidirectional road tunnel. Now in what places these kind of tunnels can be built, bidirectional tunnel? They can be built in the places where you have a lot of space, where the population density is not very high, so the traffic is not very high. So in those places you can build the bidirectional road tunnel, because if the traffic is very high, no, you will be needing the unidirectional tunnels only, otherwise it may cause the accidents. Now if we talk about the expected completion, so it is expected to be completed by 2028, because now only excavation have been done. Other parts of the construction will take place in the later stage. That's why it will take for around 2028 to complete this tunnel. Now let's focus on the location of this tunnel. So see, what is the important thing whenever we are reading about this tunnel is, important thing is which places this tunnel is connecting. So this tunnel will be connecting two places. Those places are, first is the Sonmarg and second place is the Meenamarg. So Sonmarg is located in Jammu and Kashmir and Meenamarg is located in Ladakh. So basically it will ensure connectivity between Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. So please remember, what are those two places, the places which this place will be connecting? So those two places are Sonmarg as well as Meenamarg. So it will be connecting Sonmarg and Meenamarg. So this is the location of Zojila Pass. So this is the earlier existing road, and now this will be connecting Sonmarg as well as Meenamarg. Please remember this. And if we talk about the Z More tunnel, so Z More tunnel connected Sonmarg as well as Gangagir place. So here in this diagram you are seeing two kind of tunnel. So at present the news is about Zojila tunnel. So Zojila tunnel is connecting Sonmarg to Minimarg. So Sonmarg is in Jammu Kashmir, Minimarg is in Ladakh. So basically it is ensuring connectivity between Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh. And similarly we talk about the Z More tunnel. So Z More tunnel is connecting Gangagir to Sonmarg. Okay, now if we talk about the significance of this, so what is the significance? Significance of this is now this will reduce the traveling time from Kashmir to Ladakh. Like for example, earlier to travel from Gandarbal to Kargil, people take around 3 hours to travel. But because of the construction of this Zojila tunnel, this distance can be covered in just 20 minutes. So this is the significance of that. So if we talk about that this tunnel is part of which highway? So this tunnel is part of National Highway 1. So it is part of Srinagar-Leh highway. So this small tunnel is part of a broader road connectivity, that is Srinagar-Leh highway, that is National Highway 1, and its elevation is around 12,000 feet. Now since we are discussing about the Zojila tunnel, so this is very obvious question to discuss about the Zojila Pass, because Zojila Pass is already present, which is connecting Kashmir as well as Ladakh. Then what was the requirement of Zojila tunnel? So requirement was during the time of winters, this Zojila Pass was filled by the snowfall, or it was filled because of the materials brought by landslides or avalanche. So because of that, the connectivity between Srinagar, between Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh was completely cut off, at least for 3 or 4 months. So because of that, we needed some kind of connectivity, so that some kind of tunnel, so that it can ensure the all-weather connectivity. So this is the location of Zojila tunnel. Now, if we revise everything, what all things we have discussed? So, Zojila tunnel is the India's longest road tunnel, which is just closer to completion. So basically, excavation for 13 kilometers have already been done. So if we talk about the key features, we already discussed that this is a bidirectional road tunnel. It will be connecting Sonmarg in Jammu Kashmir to Minimarg in Ladakh. So here, Sonmarg here is in Jammu Kashmir, and this will be connecting Minimarg in Ladakh. Why it was needed, we already discussed. Because of the heavy snowfall avalanches, it could easily block the connectivity between Jammu Kashmir as well as Ladakh. So yes, this time saving we already discussed, that earlier it took around 3 hours to travel from Gandarbal to Kargil, but now it could take just 20 minutes. So this is the significance of Zojila tunnel. Yes. Now second article is about the earthquake. So why this topic on this location of Philippines is important? Because the magnitude of earthquake was of 7.8. So this is a huge magnitude, and earthquake of this much magnitude can create huge amount of destruction. So that's why this topic is important. So here the heading is 7.8 magnitude earthquake in Philippines kills at least 35, collapses building, and it sparks the warning of tsunami. So this is the overall news. So here, what is the context? A powerful 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of Mindanao. So Mindanao is one of the islands of Philippines. So the earthquake struck off the coast of Mindanao, the southern island of Philippines, triggering the tsunami warnings, causing casualties, infrastructure damage, etc., etc. So first thing is the magnitude of earthquake is 7.8. Second thing is which part of the Philippines has it struck off. So part of the Philippines is the Mindanao island, that is the southernmost part of Philippines, and the earthquake is linked to the tectonic activity associated with Cotabato Trench. So the location of Cotabato Trench is also important. So line by line we will be discussing all these things. So first of all, let's discuss about the location. So here, just now we discussed that this earthquake have struck the Mindanao island. So basically, please remember this, that Philippines have 3 islands. Those islands are Luzon, Visayas as well as Mindanao. So the earthquake has struck off this Mindanao island. And that too we discussed in the context that it may be possible because of the Cotabato Trench. So Cotabato Trench is located south of Mindanao island. Cotabato Trench. This trench is located in south of Mindanao Island. Now, what are the other points? So, Mindanao is the second largest island of the Philippines. So, Philippines basically has 3 islands, Luzon, Visayas and Mindanao. So, Mindanao is the second largest island of Philippines. Next thing, it is located in the southern part of Philippine archipelago. It is home to Mount Apu, the highest peak of the Philippines. Please remember, Mindanao Island is home to Mount Apu. Mount Apu. Now, let's quickly discuss that why earthquakes are frequently happening in the Philippines. What is the reason for that? Why earthquakes are frequently happening? So, reason for that is that Philippines is a part of Circum-Pacific zone of the earth. And what is Circum-Pacific zone? Circum-Pacific zone, and or what is the Circum-Pacific rings of fire? So, this is a region in Pacific Ocean which is the hotspot for volcanoes, earthquakes. Reason for that is it has huge length of trenches as well as convergent boundaries. So here you can say that this Circum-Pacific zone or Pacific rings of fire is an important region for convergent plate boundaries. And if we talk about the convergent plate boundary, so see how plates converge. For example, this is one oceanic plate and this is second oceanic plate. So when one oceanic plate is subducting beneath second oceanic plate, many things can happen. First thing is, when this oceanic plate will hit this oceanic plate, triggers will be produced. If triggers will be produced, earthquakes can be produced. Second thing, when this oceanic plate goes to the mantle, it will melt. Whenever it will melt, the material will rise and it will puncture the ground. And when it punctures the ground, volcanism will happen. And this volcanism will produce the archipelagos. And Philippines are the archipelagos only. So that's why, since Philippines is a part of convergent plate boundaries will always produce the trenches. So this, you can say, these are the trenches. Whenever one oceanic plate subducts beneath another oceanic plate, so this area we call as the trenches. So that's why wherever the trenches will be present, that area will be very seismically active and tectonically active. So here earthquakes can also happen, volcanism can also happen, anything can happen. So why earthquakes are frequently happening in Philippines? Because Philippines is a part of Circum-Pacific zone or Pacific rings of fire, which is an important part of convergent boundaries of the world. Now, let's discuss, because in context we already said that tsunami warnings were issued, right? Tsunami warnings. So, what is the reason why you are relating earthquake with tsunamis? So, see, if we talk about the concept of tsunami, so what tsunami means, the displacement of huge volume of water. What it means? Displacement of huge volume of water. And one of the reasons of displacement of huge volume of water can be the earthquake. So for example, this is your sea floor. For example, this is your sea, and at the sea floor, earthquake happens. That means triggers are emerging from inside the earth. So because of these triggers, huge volume of water can be displaced, and this huge volume of water can result in the tsunami warning. It can result in tsunami. That's why whenever earthquake of very high magnitude happens, so tsunami warnings are given, because tsunami can easily occur in those regions. So this is the main reason why tsunami warning was given. Yes, so I think we have revised each and everything here. The magnitude of the earthquake, the location of the Mindanao Island, the location of Cotabato Trench, each and everything we have discussed. This thing also we have discussed, that Philippines lie in the Pacific Rings of Fire. So I think we have done all these things. Now tell me in the comment section that which instrument is used to measure the magnitude of earthquakes. This is very, very important, can be asked in any exam. So please tell me which instrument is used to measure the intensity of earthquakes and which instrument is used to measure the magnitude of earthquakes. So these two things you have to tell me in the comment section. Now, next article is very interesting article actually. Article is related to the Tezpur lychee. So APEDA facilitates first export of GI tagged Tezpur lychee from Assam to Dubai. So basically Tezpur is an important place in Assam. So the lychee which are GI tagged, these lychee belong to Tezpur. So now first export of Tezpur lychee have been facilitated from Assam to Dubai. So if you remember, a few weeks before we discussed about the export of agarwood from Northeast India to West Asia. So actually, if more and more products are being exported from Northeast India, which are produced in Northeast India, that will be very good for the economy of Northeast India. So that's why this thing is very important. So here we shall be discussing about the Tezpur lychee, we shall be discussing about the GI tags also. Now, so why this was in news, we already discussed, because of the first export consignment of GI tag Tezpur lychee. Now this consignment was facilitated by APEDA. So basically what is APEDA? APEDA is a body which comes under Ministry of Commerce. So basically this is a statutory body. The main function or main role of APEDA is to promote the export of processed food as well as agricultural goods. That's why here also APEDA is facilitating the export of Tezpur lychee. And so here this marks an important milestone in promoting agricultural exports from northeastern region. Now let's discuss quickly about Tezpur lychee. Yes. So see, these are Tezpur lychee. Actually, their color is very reddish in color, bright red. So you can easily differentiate them, because for some of the lychees they are kind of maroon color. So these Tezpur lychee are of bright red color. So if we talk about the Tezpur lychee, so Tezpur lychee belongs to Assam. It is renowned for its exceptional sweetness, bright red appearance. So no, appearance is no bright red. It's not kind of maroon. Distinctive aroma as well as superior eating quality. So what are the important characteristics of Tezpur lychee? First is exceptional sweetness. Second is the bright red color, distinctive aroma as well as superior eating quality. Now this Tezpur region of Assam have different kind of lychee varieties also. But which kind of lychee got the GI tag? It was the Tezpur lychee. So the region cultivates other notable varieties also, for example, Bombaya, Bilati, Elaichi, etc. Important thing for prelims is that it has received GI tag, and here is also important. So this lychee has received GI tag in 2013. Please remember, in 2013, Tezpur lychee has received the GI tag. Yes. So since we are talking about lychee, so let's quickly discuss about the climatic conditions for lychee. What are those climatic conditions? First thing is, you must know that lychee grows very well in which kind of regions. So lychee grows very well in tropical as well as subtropical regions. So this is important thing for lychee, that this is not a temperate or polar crop. Lychee grows well in tropical as well as subtropical regions. Second thing is, it usually prefers low elevation. So mainly if we talk about very good growth, so it can be grown at low elevation, but it could also be grown at altitude of till 800 meters. So important, what is important here, that low elevation is preferable for the cultivation of lychee. If we talk about the soil, so soil you need well-drained soil. So soil must not be in the waterlogged condition. So those kind of soil is required for the lychee. And pH range, which is the ideal pH range for any crop, from 5 to 7. So that kind of pH range is required for lychee also. Next, if we talk about the temperature, so it is sensitive to temperature. So temperature must not go beyond around 40 degrees, and below, it must not go below freezing point in winter. So it's sensitive to temperature also. If we talk about the rainfall, so prolonged rainfall may be harmful. So it requires rainfall, but if rainfall is continuous happening, then soil will become waterlogged. So here prolonged rainfall may be harmful, especially at the time of flowering. If we talk about this protection from the frost and hot winds, so see, this is very sensitive to temperature as well as it is sensitive to frost as well as hot winds. So it has to be protected from all these things. Now, if we talk about the distribution of lychees in the world, so please remember that India is the second largest producer of lychee in the world. Please remember, India is the second largest producer. Which is the largest producer? It is China. So, which country is the largest producer of lychee? India is China. Second largest producer, India. And if we talk about the other countries, so some of the other countries, for example, in Southeast Asia, in Africa, some of the lychee is grown in those countries also. But important thing here is China as well as India. And yes, in India where it is grown, so just now we discussed about Assam, but it is also grown in Bihar, West Bengal, UP, etc. Now you have to tell me in the comment section that lychee is native to which region of the world. So from which area lychee has originated and it is native to which area of the world? You have to tell me that. Yes, now let's quickly discuss about the GI tag, because since we are talking about the Tezpur lychee and it was a GI tagged product. So what is the meaning of GI tag? So see, GI tag, any product can get a GI tag if that product has that property because of that location in which it is present. So to that product GI tag can be given. So GI tag is a name or sign used on certain products corresponding to a specific geographical location. So if I say that this kind of tea has got GI tag, that means the quality of this tea is because of the region in which it is produced. That's why this tea or any product can get a GI tag. So here WTO agreement is very important because it is protected by the WTO's agreement under TRIPS, that is trade related aspects of intellectual property rights. So here please remember, GI tag is protected under WTO's agreement of TRIPS. Second, it is protected under Geneva Act of Lisbon Agreement on appellations of origin and geographical indications. So at least have all these kind of names in your mind. Now, if we talk about GI tag in India, so since India is a member of World Trade Organization, so according to the provisions of TRIPS, India has enacted Geographical Indications of Goods Act of 1999. So under this act only, GI tag can be provided to any kind of product. So here, this GI tag is a part of intellectual property right under Paris Convention. So this, if GI tag is given to any particular product, so it is a part of intellectual property right only. And which is the first GI tagged product in India? So that product is in Darjeeling. So yes, I think we discussed about GI tagged also. Now, if we discuss about the registration, that means what is the process of registration and for what period of time GI tag can be present. So this GI tag registry, yes, Geographical Indication Registry issues these tags under the Department of Industry Promotion and Internal Trade. This department comes under Ministry of Commerce. So, under which ministry registration can be done? Registration can be done under Ministry of Commerce. Next thing is that GI tags can be given for various kind of products. It's not like only the handicrafts or only the agricultural products or only the edible products. It's not like that. So, GI tag can be given to any kind of product. Important thing is this, if particular product got GI tag, this status will not remain for permanent, so this is a not permanent status. So GI tag can be valid only for 10 years and after that renewal can be done. Yes, now a practice question for you. Zozilla Pass, frequently seen in news, connects which two places? So please read the question carefully and try to answer in the comment section. Next thing is the Cotabato Trench, sometimes seen in the news, is located near Japan, Chile, Southern Philippines or Papua New Guinea. So here also I think we discussed this in detail, so try to give answer in the comment section. So yes, I think that's all from my side for today. Thank you and have a nice day.